Mr. Jindal, thank you very much for joining us here on the CNBC TV 18 25th anniversary. It's great to have you. And what we are discussing tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is whether we are at a breakout moment as far as India's manufacturing sector is concerned. So straight up, Mr. Jindal, we had Uday Kotak here this morning saying that India needs to up its game as far as competitiveness is concerned. We can no longer be protectionist on trade. We need to be far more liberal. How do you respond?
So before coming here, I heard this comment and I said, Uday is not in manufacturing.
So he can make that comment freely, is it?
So I wish he was in manufacturing, then he wouldn't say this. So I was saying that, we are not yet the factory of the world. Let us first become the factory of the world, and then we should open up our doors for competition. Let there be no tariffs, nothing. I mean, United States, even after, let's say, 100 years or 150 years of developed nation status, even today they have tariffs. Europe is putting tariffs, right? And we are saying that we should open up. Then we will kill our manufacturing here. We are not a great manufacturing country in any case. Today, our manufacturing GDP is only 17% of our GDP, right? And we must get to 25–30%, what China is. But if you open up and we become liberal, then we will kill our industry.
So you talked about tariffs. Donald Trump says tariffs is the favorite word that he has in the dictionary, and he has promised that he is going to go full throttle as far as tariffs are concerned. What is that going to mean? We don't know the quantum, we don't know what finally will happen, but given the threat and what he's done in his previous term, what will it mean?
No, what Donald Trump is, in my opinion, he's very clear. He is a very clear-headed guy, whether right or wrong, but he has a clarity of thought. And he says that, for me, America is first. I want to build America. I don't care about the world. For me, America is the world. And therefore, I want my industry to grow. I want America to grow, American industry to produce goods. It's not that Chinese should supply to me and then I will consume. I don't want to become only a consuming country. I want to produce and consume. So therefore, I want to put tariffs. Yes, tariffs do make you, let's say, lethargic. You become more uncompetitive to an extent. So therefore, you have to gradually bring down the tariffs to become competitive. But you have to allow the kid to grow up. Before you start running the race.
So let me throw that argument back to you. You said you have to allow the kid to grow up. So where are we, sir? Haven't we adulted yet as far as Indian manufacturing is concerned?
Not at all. Not at all. That's what
Teenager or pre-teen?
Pre-teen.
Pre-teen?
Yeah, we are just kind of 4–5-year-old.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. In manufacturing.
Yeah.
Because you see, China, if you open up the records and see, China in 1990, what kind of protectionist China were? In 2000, what was their protection levels? And what they are today? Today they are opened up because they become the factory of the world. I wanted to export steel in 98, 99 to China. I was not permitted to do that because China had tariffs. They removed the tariffs, but now today we have zero tariffs on steel. Chinese steel, which is surplus, they are nearly 60% of their capacity is surplus capacity. Yeah. So it comes via Japan, Korea, Vietnam, Malaysia to India at 0% duty.
So you're saying that there is a case for higher tariffs to be imposed?
I'm not saying higher tariffs, but there has to be, the government must have a very clear view that what they want. They want the heavy industries to come up in this country, because steel industry, for example, I'm just taking steel as an example because I belong to steel industry. If you don't want the heavy industries to come in India, you want to rely on Chinese steel industry to build Indian ecosystem, Indian SMEs and MSMEs. I have no problem. I can go somewhere else and invest. I don't have to invest here. But I love this country. I would love to invest here. I have grown here. I have earned my bucks here, right? So I would love to invest here. But this thought that MSME and SME is more important than the heavy industry. If the heavy industry dies, MSME, SME dies. So you have to... You're
sounding pretty sanguine about growth as well as the future.
Not really. I mean, yeah, but this is a fact that you have to, because steel industry needs huge investment.
Yeah.
Right? So for making huge investment, you have to make profits.
Huh.
If you can't make profits,
Fair enough.
then you can't, my shareholders will not give me money to invest, right? So then I can't build more industry. Today, for example, India needs 20 million tons of steel every year, which China needed, let's say, in year 2000. We need it today. So 20 million means $20 billion of investment every year.
Yeah.
I don't think if any other industry requires that kind of investment. We are willing to do that as an industry. But there are only, in every country, there are only 4 or 5 players which invest in any industry, right? So $20 billion amongst 4 or 5 players is a huge investment.
Yeah.
So which we are doing, but if we don't make money, we can't invest.
Okay, so let's talk about, you said that, you know, if the conditions are not right, you'll go elsewhere and invest. I mean, in a matter of speaking, I'm not saying that you're going to do that, but I'm talking about, for instance, your own international plans, your own international expansion in markets like the US, for instance. Are we going to see more of that being built out? Personally,
no. As I said, I love India. I love to expand in this country. And this is my karma bhumi. So I want to do here, and but I want the right policies. I want that the country must really think about it, that how to develop the heavy industries.
So what do you want? What is the number 1, 2, 3 thing you want from the government?
For example, we cannot be a country which exports minerals and import finished products. We cannot be. There has to be a complete no. I've been advocating this policy for a long time, more than 20 years, that please don't export minerals. Please allow Indian industry to consume the minerals, add value, and export the products, right? But we are exporting minerals and importing finished products. This is a complete no-no, number one.
Okay.
Number two, there has to be a level playing field.
Right.
A country like China, which has got huge surplus, nearly 500 million tons. We consume 150 million tons of steel. China exports nearly 150 million tons of steel. So therefore, there is no way that we can compete with China. I mean, it's not that we are not competitive. We make much more profit in our balance sheet in a normal year than the Chinese steel companies do. But the Chinese are, they are all state-owned companies.
Yeah.
And for them, profit is not very important. It's more like a job creation. It's an ego-boosting thing that every province has this steel plant.
Yeah.
Right? So that's their thought process. So they go on expanding their capacities. Because, you know, one state says that, oh, Shanghai has bigger capacity than Beijing.
Yeah.
Or Shaanxi has bigger capacity than Luzhou. You know, that kind of thing they have, competition.
Right.
Healthy competition. But therefore, they don't care for the profits. But we don't make profits, then we don't have state exchequer writing check for us. Then we don't get money.
Yeah, that is one of the aspects of Mr. Jindal. You know, it's almost a blow-hot, blow-cold relationship with China, isn't it? I mean, you just talked about all the reasons why we should not do business with China. And through the COVID period, you were very clear we shouldn't do any business with China. But now you're doing business with China. You've been a joint venture for the electric mobility space with a Chinese company. So do you believe that there is a need to be pragmatic on how we engage with China?
No, absolutely. With any country. In fact, even Pakistan, for that matter, we should be pragmatic.
To deal with Pakistan?
We should be pragmatic.
Yeah.
We should not say that no, nothing doing. So when I said we should not do business with China, when Galwan happened, because I was very clear that we cannot deal with an enemy state. Pakistan, for that matter, is an enemy state.
Yeah.
But still, if we work properly, you know, with a control mechanism, we should open up and do business. Because
with Pakistan?
Even with Pakistan.
Okay.
Because a very poor neighbor will always hurt us. So therefore, we should think, we should have a long term, but this is not a foreign policy discussion that we are having. But my point is that with China, we should, because China has already developed this technology on electric vehicles. Today, 60% of their new car sales are electric or new energy. India, we have 2%. And this is the way forward. We import all our fuel for the cars. All petroleum products are imported, 85,
Yeah,
90%
yeah.
is imported. So it's in our interest that we transition ourselves to a technology which is domestic, which is local technology, local
So bring the
raw materials.
technology in from China, but manufacture in India.
Exactly, absolutely. Because technology exists in China. We must develop it over time in India, but we must bring the technology and develop the products in India.
I want to understand from you, what is the aspiration now on the EV side? I mean, you've got this joint venture that you've inked with MG. Take me through what we should expect in the next 5 to 10 years as far as JSW's EV ambition is concerned.
So the idea is that to give the consumers a very good product, very good quality at affordable price in the EV spectrum. And I believe that JSW can do it extremely well.
Okay, so that's the proposition, but what does the roadmap look like? What are the numbers that you're targeting?
Numbers is in next 5 years, I would like to, idea is to produce 1 million cars.
A million
sell
cars in the next 5 years.
Next 5 to 7 years, yeah. By 2030, let's say 1 million cars should be on the road of JSW, whether it is MG or not MG, but under the JSW umbrella.
Okay, that's a headline that you're giving us, Mr. Jindal. But, you know, on manufacturing, you said we're not even a preteen yet. And everyone is at this point in time saying that this is the opportunity. It's the big Make in India moment. You rightly pointed out we're still about 16% share of GDP. When do we get to that 20-25%, which has been the target and the aspiration? How do we get from preteen to teen to adulthood?
I mean, it's matter of time. We were discussing recently that India is not spending enough money on innovation, on R&D. Indian industry is not spending enough money. Though the government is trying to help or trying to nudge the industry to invest more in R&D, but we are not doing it because, as they say, that if you are hungry, first you would like to eat, and then you want to do puja, or then you want to worship, or then you want to do something. So right now the industry, I think, is still growing, investing in the growth, and then it will go into the R&D, because it's the most important thing. Somebody was asking me why we can't have an NVIDIA from India, why we can't have Microsoft from India.
Yeah.
But the point is that because we are not spending enough in
But
R&D.
why aren't you spending?
Because we don't have enough money as a country.
It's a capital problem.
It's a capital problem. It's a mindset problem, because the mindset when you are investing so you have a limited amount of cash available. Either you invest in expansion, which is needed for the nation, for the country's requirement, or you invest in your R&D and your growth and your R&D technology.
Yeah.
So you feel that which is giving you better ROI, and straightforward answer in the boardrooms are that let's go for expansion. Because if you invest in R&D, whether that would be successful or not, we don't know. And there are so many people investing in China, in US.
And so you prefer to buy the technology as opposed to investing in it yourself?
As of now, yes.
As of now.
Yes.
So let me end then by asking you, Mr. Jindal, over the next 5 years, by 2030, you talked about how very few players are actually investing. There's a private capex challenge. How much is JSW across the group going to be investing in India? How much will you invest outside of India?
In terms of numbers?
Yes.
So, it's not very easy, but
given the demand visibility.
Yeah, so we have made a very ballpark number that between now and 2030-31, fiscal 30-31, we would be investing close to $70 billion in India, and maybe $2 billion outside India.
70 billion in India, 2 billion outside of India. Any more IPOs on the anvil?
I'm not sure about it. Not for the moment.
Not for the moment. Any new areas of opportunity? Any new businesses like electric mobility? You decided to get into that? Anything else on the anvil?
Not yet. No, nothing at the moment.
The plate is full?
More than full.
More than full. Sajjan Jindal, many thanks for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Sajjan Jindal here, talking about India's manufacturing moment. Appreciate you joining us here this evening, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.